Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's watch list preview. Had there's some couple decent setups on here, and we have some earnings coming up this week on some banks that I have on my list. So be mindful of that. I would personally, I will not hold through earnings unless I may have had 4, 5, 10 contracts and sold all but maybe one or two. Other than that, I won't hold through earnings. Um, but if you're comfortable with that, then good luck with it. But we have Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, MGM, Boeing, Lilly, ULTA, and this one here I put an extra gap here because this is a little bit of different thing. I had this on my list for last week, and I like the chart, so I'm gonna keep it on here and go over it for you. So that's what we have on the watch list for this week. Let's take a look. Wells Fargo. And every time I see WFC, well, I want to say Wayfair. Uh, so if I happen to slip up and call it Wayfair, you know what I mean. It's Wells Fargo. So Wells Fargo, let's take a look at the year. Inside on the year, but it's pretty big green candle. Um, you know, last year we moved from like $20.50 to 54.08. Kind of hard to not stay inside this candle for this year, but that's a huge range, so you can still trade it. Um, so on the year, it's been looking good for the year, even though it is inside. On the quarter, multiple two ups on the quarter. This quarter is inside, but it's only a week in. On the month, we're inside. We had a two up with a shooter, followed by a two down, kind of a spinning top, and now we're inside on the month. So if we can break over this high here, 48.94, we'll have a 2-2 monthly reversal. But if you take a look at the week here, we actually have, and there's earnings on this one. On the 14th before market open, which is Thursday morning before the market opens. So if you do trade this and you're like me, you want to be out before the market closes Wednesday. Earnings 10:14 before market open. So you may get a we've already had a run up if you look at the monthly. It's been, or not the monthly. What was it? Daily's been kind of chugging along. I think it was the quarterly that's been, yeah, a bunch of good quarters in a row. But if you look at the weekly, looking for a break above the high of this candle, last week's high of 48.59. Target one is going to be the high of this candle at 48.94. I'm not saying to take profits here, but I'm saying you may see a little bit of momentum loss here. Maybe a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of hesitation. Be prepared for that. And this is kind of a range to set a stop in once we break above that. You can, at this point, if you break above 48.94, I'd probably move my stop to maybe just slightly below break even. And when I say slightly below, your entry's at 48.59, maybe like $48, 48.25, somewhere in there. I wouldn't give it much room. So we come down to the daily. That was target one. Target two is this pivot, or that, I'm sorry, this is target one here. That's the pivot high there. Target two, I need to zoom out a little bit, is not too much higher, but we have a gap start on a daily at 49.98. And obviously we're going to have mental resistance at $50. So we break above 49.98, that would be target two. Target three is going to be the gap fill at, wait a minute, make sure I'm calling these right. Target one, target two, target three is the gap entry. Target four is the gap fill at $50.18. Not a huge gap, but it's still a gap. Target five is going to be all the way up here. And I went down, daily, I went down to the 4 hour. And on the 4 hour, we still, you could put a target right here on the 4 hour. You could maybe use this as a stop if we break above it. but I didn't put this down as a target. I kept it all on the daily here. So target 5 is going to be 51.41. Morgan Stanley's the next one. Real similar setup. On the year, it's been looking really good on the year. On the quarter, we're inside, but it's only a week in. On the month, inside, but we're only a week in. So on the week, we're inside. Inside, I know it's not a hammer, but it's we'll call it almost a hammer. So that's the hammer's cousin. So the almost hammer. So again, earnings. This one's on the 14th again before market open. You can see I have it noted here. Earnings 10:14 before market open. So we're looking for a break above the last week's high. Inside candle $100.92. Come down to the daily. This here, we have a little bit of a gap here. Very small gap, but it's still a gap. Target 1 is 101.61, gap start. Target 2 is 101.72. That'll fill the gap. Target 3 would have been way up here on the daily. So I did come down to the 4 hour. Target 3 we have here. I know I did this for the Morgan Stanley chart. I didn't do it for the Wells Fargo. But target 3 is going to be 103.05. Target 4 is going to be this high up here at 105.95. May see a little bit of an earnings run up this week. The next one is MGM. MGM, if you take a look at the year, been having a really good year. Inside on the quarter, but the quarters have been looking good. We did go outside last quarter, but it finished on the higher side of that, on the upper side of that. So inside quarter, again, only a week in. Inside month, we had a doji here last month. On the weekly, we're kind of, it's not looking great on the weekly, but we're going to see if we can come up here and break this. If we break this high, there's not too many targets here. And you'll see I kind of put a question mark here. This isn't one of my favorite charts, but I think if we break that, we can make a little bit of a run. So above 45.91 is your entry. Target 1 is going to be 46.07. Target 2 is a question mark. And I know I've explained targets, my targets before. You see we have right here, we have a broadening formation. You can either look for a target up here at the top of the broadening formation, or you can come down and look at, say, the daily, maybe the 4 hour, shorter time frame, 2 hour. Look for a break below the 9 EMA. You could use that as an exit. Or the other thing is on a lower time frame, let's say the 4 hour. Let's say you get a break below the previous candle on a 4 hour, then that could be used as an exit. Again, it's not my favorite chart, but I do think that if we break above this, just because we've had some pretty good weeks with it and kind of lost a little bit of momentum with it 2 weeks ago. Last week it was kind of like, okay, we're just going to take a break here. Not a huge drop for a red candle, so in a sense it's kind of a spinning top. So we'll see what they want to do with it. It may break below this and come back down and test these moving averages, test the previous week's low. We'll see what they do, but keep an eye on that one. Next one is Boeing. Me and Boeing have a love-hate relationship. I love to hate it. I've had a few winners, but I've had many more losers with it. And oddly, I like trading it. I still keep going back to it, even though it's kicked my butt many times. So we'll see what it does this time. If you look at the year, inside year, not doing a whole lot, but it would. I mean, look at last year. I shouldn't say not doing a lot, but look at last year, from $90 to $350. That's enormous range. It's almost unheard of to not be inside this year on it. The good thing is, if we stay inside this year, we can look for a break above or below the current year's high or low for next year, and have a lot of magnitude. So, but there's still a lot of range here to play with. You can trade this when you have that much range. On the quarter, inside on the quarter, you see we kind of rounded over, coming back down. On the month, and oh, by the way, Boeing has earnings on the 27th, so that's 2.5 weeks from now. So you may get a run up before earnings. So pay attention to that. 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, is a good time to start. That people start building their. I don't want to say building their portfolio, but they start accumulating shares for a run up on earnings. So keep an eye on that. On the week, we had a pretty nice candle the previous week. It's not a hammer. It's not really anything really. Not really any kind of, if anything, maybe a spinning top. But we're kind of taking a breather here, which may be a good thing. Which means they may have not. They may have started. Some traders may have started accumulating back here, but they're taking a breather here. It's still 2.5 weeks out. They may start accumulating more here. During this week of consolidation, they may have been accumulating, and this week they may start to run it up. So we're looking for a break above 229 even. Target 1, and I got a little bit of sore throat. I went to a night at the races last night for a FOP fundraiser, Fraternal Order of Police fundraiser, and it was loud there, and I had to talk loud, and my throat's really sore today, so didn't win anything. I won one race. I won $9 on one race. I do have a kind of a funny story. My aunt, who's really funny, I hate to get off topic, but it was really funny. She's like the ditzy aunt, and at the end of the night they do an auction. Like our whole table pitched in money, and we bid on a horse. We named our own horse. We picked our own lane, and they did that to fill up the race for 10 different horses. And after we'd bought our horse and named it, my aunt decided she was going to leave. They were still auctioning off the other slots, the other horses. And my aunt stands up, and there's 16 of us at the table. It's a big long table. My aunt stands up and starts waving to the people at the other end of the table, saying she's leaving. And the auctioneer looks at her and points at her and said she now has the high bid, and she doesn't even realize it. And they went back to a different table, and somebody outbid her, and she's still waving to the people at the end of the table trying to get their attention. And the auctioneer looks back and points to her again and said, okay, $70 or whatever it was. And I was sitting beside my aunt, and I nudged her. I said, hey, you're bidding on this horse. And so it was pretty funny. But she hurried up and got out of there after that. She didn't win. The other table outbid her after that, but it was kind of funny. But I just thought I'd have to share that story. So anyway, back to charts here. Boeing. I said on the weekly we were looking for potential earnings run up, break above 229 even. Back to the daily for targets. This target here is going to be target 1, 229.94. Target 2, we're getting into a gap on the daily. There's actually a gap here, but that's below our entry. So gap here on the daily, 230.203 starts the gap. Target 3 is going to be a gap fill at 234.28. Target 4 is the high of this candle at 239.69. Target 5 is going to be 241.15. So keep an eye on that one with earnings coming up in a couple weeks. Eli Lilly. I don't know that I've ever traded this, so I don't know how it trades. I don't know how the spreads are, but we'll go over it. So looking pretty good on the year. Inside on the quarter, but we're only a week in. The previous quarter didn't end too well. It was a shooting star, even though it was green. On the month, we were 2 down on the previous month, which we were on quite a few charts were 2 down last month. Still inside on this month. On the week, we were on, and also let me go back. We have earnings on Eli Lilly on the 26th also before market open, so another potential run up. So on the week, we had a doji here, outside candle doji, followed by an inside candle, pretty big green candle. So the bulls really kind of stepped up here the last week and a half or so. So let's see if this thing, we might still be able to catch this thing down kind of low for the earnings run up. So we're looking for a break above 235.81. Target one is this candle high 237.16, and I'm going to go down to the daily so you can see where I got my targets. This high here 237.16. Target 2, 239.38. I skipped this one because it's only pennies away from the other one. Target 3 is 241.15. Target 4 is 243.89. Target 5 is 254.02. Again, I don't know that I've ever traded. I'm sure I have, but not often. So not familiar with how it trades. So, you'll have to figure that out on your own. I can't help you there. ULTA, nice big candle on the year. On a quarter, inside, only a week in. On the month, we're actually 2 down on the month. So we did a 2 up followed by an inside candle, and then the beginning of this month we popped down below the previous month and then popped right back up, shot right back up. So the month's not looking too bad, even though it's a 2 down. On the week, we were kind of stuck here in some consolidation here. Not really looking good on the week, but it is an inside week. What I do like about it is if we are able to break these, we have a lot of range up here to the third target. So this one I don't know if I'll trade, and if I do, I'm going to be very careful with it because this is just ugly here. But I like the potential profit up here. So 383.06 break, target 1. Let me go back down to daily, even though it won't really change on this. Target 1 is going to be this pivot high of 387.96. Target 2 is this pivot high of 392. We have a little bit of a high here, 392.60, slightly higher. And then we have a big, huge range here, big, huge candle. And if you drop to the lower time frames, the 4 hour, it's still there. You drop to the 2 hour. That's right, I couldn't go back that far. But even on the 4 hour, that big red candle's still there. So if we break above, if we break above 393, we may have some smooth sailing up. 400 obviously is going to be a mental, but nice run there. And First Solar, this one, like I said, is a little bit different. It doesn't really fit too much of the criteria. It's a 2 up on the year, even though it's red, but we're kind of like leveled off here, not doing too much for a few years, and then it's starting to kind of come up, starting to ramp up here. On the quarter, we've had a couple decent quarters, inside quarter so far. Last quarter wasn't great. It was green, but it, kind of a spinning top. On the month, we're still 2 up. We're still chugging upwards, but not at really overly impressive candles on the monthlies. What's this one here? 28th earnings on the 28th, so may see a run up on the week. Here's why I like it. I had it on my list last week for an inside week break. It did trigger last week, but it didn't quite hit the target. And I said in last week's video, keep an eye on this one because it may continue going. Um, this isn't a typical chart that I would alert on, but I like this inside candle break up with earnings coming up. Um, keep an eye. We'll call this a 2-2 continuation. The trigger is actually going to be at 99.88, but I put it at $100 even, 101.01. And even then, I'd probably let it go a little bit further just to see, to be sure. So, it may pop up and then pull back and test it. So give it a little bit, maybe 25, 30 cents above 100 before you jump in. Maybe even see if it hits target one before you jump in. But target one, go down to the daily chart. Target one is going to be $100.58. Then we have a gap to fill here. That's the gap start. The gap fills at 101.80. So we have a nice $1.20 something gap there. And then target 3 is going to be 104.43. So nice move there. Target 4 is 105.10. And then target 5 is going to be up here at the pivot high at 107.27. I do like this chart, even though it wouldn't pop up on any of my scans, but it did pop up on last week's scan because of the inside week. And if you watch my video from the other day, I said keep an eye on this because this could be a nice setup to keep on going. So that's my watch list for this week. Thanks for watching. Sorry we got sidetracked with the story about last night, but I thought it was pretty funny, and so anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Good luck this week, and see everyone at the end of the week. Thanks. Bye.